6:50. So I've got about 40 minutes before the ride starts. The ride is about 5 kilometers or so from my home, maybe less, probably 3 kilometers. But I still get up early for it because I want my body to be up. I don't like to get up late and rush to a ride. So I got some appetite this morning, so I'm gonna have oatmeal. I figure I'd take you guys along with me and show you how I prepare my oatmeal. Nothing special. This is just, you can get that in any store. I got apples and cinnamon here. So I'm gonna get a little bowl. There. I'll use this bowl. Stick it in the microwave. Get some milk. I'm gonna show the other clips. This is the milk that we use. I've always had problems with the animal milk, like cow milk, whole milk they call it. Just gets me, I feel bloated when I drink those and just all kinds of problems. So that's why I don't do too many cheeses. The cheeses I like are like goat cheese. Things from the Mediterranean, I can handle those. The heavy cheeses they've got here don't agree with me. I'm filming with one hand and working with another, so forgive me here. I'll just pour that in there. Yeah, add a little bit of milk. I don't like it too thick. So that's good. I'm going to go in the microwave it for about 3 minutes. And I'm going to kind of keep my eye on it because I don't like for it to boil over. So I'll set this forward. And while it's doing that, I'm going to go over here. And I prefer to do this with my bananas. See, these guys are pretty much almost, they're getting ripe. You know, they're on the way. This guy is very ripe. Okay, it's a little past it anyway, but this is when banana tastes best. And they don't travel very well in this condition. That's why you see a lot of people with the what I call non-ripe yellow bananas. So this will go on top of the oatmeal. I prefer to do this and stick it into my jersey, and then later on it's all mushy. So you can see here I got like a minute 44. I'm looking at that thing, it's boiling. And so you don't have to do, I would probably just do a minute and a half because it looks like I put enough milk in there where it's stirring up. So 3 minutes would be too much. So right now it's about a minute and a half. I'm going to stop it. Hello legends and super legends. Welcome to Veloharmony. This is a Saturday group ride. It's about 7:05 Central Standard Time. They've moved our time back, so now it's more light early in the morning. It gets dark early because they moved the time back 1 hour. We've got a couple of people that confirm. I've got Frankie that sent an RSVP. On the site that I have for our ride calendar, there's a form where people can RSVP. And the reason that's nice to have is if you RSVP, then I can wait for you. And if I have your number, I can text you if we get to the ride and you're running behind or something like that. And then also Jeremy Stiberick also RSVP, sent me a text and said he would be there. So I have his number, so it's really good when I know people are coming in, that way we can wait for them. And we try to wait anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, no more. That way, you know, everybody's considered, even the people that do show up on time. But this morning I'm gonna be eating oatmeal. I got up about 2 hours before the ride. I slept really well. And I'm having oatmeal with bananas. I'm preparing some clips for a video. One of the legends here asked about premium, well, I didn't use the word premium, but the best nutrition for high performance. And I'm putting together some clips to just keep things simple like we always do here. So where you don't have to do anything special, you just gotta make a few modifications, a few selections depending on what you're doing. So oatmeal with bananas, good carbs, Bananas don't travel very well when they're really ripe. In the clips that I'm making for the food, I show what a ripe banana is versus what we see in the stores. And it's just perfectly sweet, so I'm going to be eating here as I get ready. Okay, I just wanted to say, I was gonna go get my helmet and I noticed on my iPad that Jeremy has sent a message. And this is one of the reasons why it's great when you RSVP. It's very considerate of him. He sent a message saying that he's on his way, but he's a few minutes behind. And all I'm gonna tell him is, take your time, we'll wait for you. Because I think he's riding to the ride, possibly, because he lives in the area. So that's the cool thing. If you're putting a ride together, consider making sure that people have the option to RSVP. I think it's a great idea because here it is. Now I know Jeremy's coming. I know he's on the way. There is no way we're going to leave without him. My new cat eye mixino. I'm taking an extra 2 today. I always like to put the pump on the outside, and it just seems to keep the weight of my patch, or my patch wallet I call it, my essentials case, centered towards the middle of my back. So I don't have to keep messing with pushing it back when I'm driving. So it just seems to work in that spot, so I stick with what works. Granola bars, and now I've got my rock blocks in there already. Yeah, let me take out the microphone. I got the microphone in here. I can finish my oatmeal and hit the road. Morning guys, on the way to the ride start. It's an overcast day, and of course our coach is here, the wind, as usual. Powering on my head unit, that's what you hear. So I've got my lights on, got the rear lights on, I got the front light flashing. I'm gonna keep it on for the ride. I always keep up with the weather. I hear a train, so that'll probably hold me up right at the school. For the ride today, the temperature range is gonna be from 20 C to about 28 C. So start right around 69, 70 degrees to probably 80. And then later tonight, we're supposed to get a front that's gonna drop it into the 40s Fahrenheit for the low, which is probably 5 to 7 C in that range. So that's why I don't play with this weather. You gotta dress up because you never get a chance to get used to it. The changes are drastic and they don't stick around. spectacles.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I figure these are from my old, when I had them before.
That's nice.
Yeah, I thought about
Good coverage, yeah, good coverage. Coverage your eyes. Brother?
Yeah.
How are you? What's his name is coming? Jeremy.
Jeremy's coming.
There he is. He sent me a text last night and then he sent one this morning. So we're ready to go. That's what I like about the RSVP or at least a text.
Right.
And because then we wait for you.
Yeah.
Or we send you a text. Hey man, you said you were gonna be here. You okay?
Asleep, man. I was here at 7-Eleven, man. I was like just riding in the parking and then you showed up.
Oh, okay.
Like
yeah, you knew it was 7:30, right?
Yeah, I knew it
Because
was
I was
7:30.
out riding around just this
Jeremy.
minute.
Yeah.
We're ready, buddy. You good?
Yeah, I'm
So
good.
you rode from the house, right?
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Now, since you rode from the house, you have the option on the way back. You just drop off at the house because you have more miles than we do. Okay?
I'm good all day.
Huh?
I'm good all day.
Well, you've been riding alone all day. I got till 11:30 noon to go hook up with my daughters. Yeah, you know, because all like those grand funders will be doing, you know, you're gone like till like 3 in the afternoon. You can't do that every weekend. Yeah, you just push it too much. Gentlemen, I'm excited. Let's go, man.
All right, man. Let's do this.
No, I was going to show you this.
So yeah, what's
Look
going
at
on? Ah.
that. Shielded.
Yeah, man. I
All
see
shielded.
that.
And then I had to do half of that.
Let me see the front. How did you do that?
Oh, this guy. Yeah, you see right there?
Yeah.
And then right there. That's
Yeah.
what was hidden. And I don't know why it was hit, but it's probably when we do stuff like this. You see that? We just have to be more careful when we go to the back.
Yeah. I
Let me
want to
straighten.
see
Let me
how.
straighten that. So you can turn this off and restart it yourself, as far as this one, and then you can leave the camera on if you want. So yeah, it should be good. I was more concerned about where you're holding it because we get those rattles. I think there that's where you need to hold it.
Yeah, that's
I think what's
usually
happening when this guy touches that, remember?
right here.
That's where, you gotta bring it up a
I
little
gotta
bit.
bring it here.
There you go. Now you got it.
Here.
All right, gentlemen.
So is this on now? Or should
No,
I-
the camera's on.
So
That's
I
fine.
just have to power this though, right?
Yeah, you have to turn on the remote.
Yeah.
I turned it off just now.
There we go. Yeah. Let's get this.
You need to do what? Oil. Is it dry?
Yeah.
Man, you need to do this stuff on Thursday, man. What's wrong with you? You don't wait till Saturday morning. You're abusing this bike, it's gonna beat you up. You gotta show this bike some respect. Hold on. Don't do it too fast. Don't take your time. Just do the links.
You just want to
Just
put
the links.
one drop of the link.
Yeah, you don't want to put it anywhere where you don't have to have it. You got a bike stand at the
Yeah.
house?
Put a
Where
little
you
bit
can
on
raise
it.
your
So
bike
that
and work for you? No?
the thinner it is, the faster it goes.
Yeah.
Need something
For some reason, I don't know why.
Yeah. My
See, I'm just doing the
bag maintenance, we do it the night before, man.
Do your maintenance before the group ride. So we're giving Frankie a hard time, but
Yeah.
you really want to do your maintenance
That helps.
like Thursday or Friday so your bike's ready.
for
the weekend.
You see how it's being
I
sucked
was
in?
ribbing him a little bit. I told him he's the only guy I've seen that carries bicycle oil in his car.
That's why it's good to do this at home because you can wipe it off. You're the first person I see got oil in their car, man. Are you kidding me? You been doing this stuff on the road? What, you a mobile mechanic?
Nah.
Like,
I
man.
just always forget to oil my chain.
Really? You need to oil, if you ride often, at least every week and a half to 2 weeks, you gotta oil your chain, depending on, how many hours you put in. After every 2 weeks, I oil my chain. Week and a half to 2 weeks, a gauge. If it starts getting noisy, then yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You don't need stuff in your car, it should be at home, dude. Shoot. Then you can wipe it with your rag, man. Shoot. You're good. But when you get home, wipe it up because you're gonna ride today. We didn't get to wipe it.
Yeah.
So when you get home, just wipe it. You don't need to see the oil. Anything you can see, just come up. Yeah, the oil should be inside that pit. See this pit? That's where you want the oil to go, on that pit. So you saw how it was just going in there? Everything on the surface is dark magnet. Let's go, guys. Come
All
on.
right.
We're ready.
Let's do this.
Now we have options. We can go Dobbins House there.
So we're discussing the
Okay.
options of routes. find out in a little bit that Frankie has repaired his saddle.
Fix my seat, man.
Yeah, you fix it?
Yeah, I found an old part that was on there when I first broke it.
Yeah.
And I realized that I got the wrong, one of the pieces on there, I ordered it wrong.
Oh, okay.
So I took, still got one old piece and one new piece on there.
Okay. Oh, that's a plus, man.
It was like a 5 centimeter
Uh-huh.
diameter. It
Yeah.
goes into this seat post.
Uh-huh.
With the one, it came with like a 7.
Okay.
So it doesn't go all the way in, so it doesn't lock it.
Ah. So now it's a lock in place.
Now it's locked in place.
Aldrin, he got his seat fixed, man. He's a sour fix.
I was messing with Frankie right there. I said, was he keeping it a secret? Paul's laughing.
Yeah. There's some new technology that came up with something like gravity. So it just replaced the piece, right?
Yeah, I had the old one. Okay. One of the old ones. I put it in
One of the old ones. You mean it has many different parts too?
and I lost one.
Oh.
So I ordered this thing. It said that I ordered it.
I got you. You found out the right part. So that's good that you can do it yourself. So now you know how it works.
Yeah.
So how's your seat feel? You're not going to be scooting around. There you go.
So Frankie has a very good sense of humor, so I'm always ribbing him because he's one of these guys that I think could have been just a natural comedian. Frankie has the gift of taking everyday stuff and making it funny. You know, so since Frankie came to join us, I mean, he keeps us cracking up laughing during the ride. So we're just kind of rolling out here and we're chatting, we're easing into the ride. Jeremy rode about 5 miles to join us. Paul rode probably about the same distance, I'm thinking. I rode maybe 1.5 miles. So we're using this to kind of ease into our pace that we're going to keep. We've got the wind behind us currently. That's why you see the speeds are almost 30 kilometers an hour. Even though we're in really zone 1 for me anyway.
23.
We're going easily. And I end up telling the guys that this wind that we're enjoying right now will be a challenge on the return. Because we're headed north. If you look at the course, we'll go north, then we go west and come south and go east. So we're still going to be fighting the cross south wind on our final stretch. turn west, you can hear the wind. The wind is blowing from the south, which is on our left, and directly from the west, which we're directly riding into. There's a front in the area, a northern front coming down, that's stirring up all this stuff. Hear it, it's blowing. So we're already, I'm in zone 2 now. We're doing the same speeds we're doing that we're in zone 1. So turning west has increased the effort for the same speed we're doing when we're headed north. Since Frankie has repaired his seat, you can notice there's a noticeable improvement in his stability. He was smoother. I mean, everything we just saw, I saw a marked improvement, and I will point them out specifically as we go through this ride. Now we're headed north, and I'm just maintaining the same effort, and basically we're going at 28k and my heart rate is coming down because the wind mostly behind us right now, and we got a crosswind from the left, from the west. Since I knew it was going to be overcast the entire ride, that's why I have my light in the rear and the front on. Just added visibility. Just rolling a reasonable gear for me anyway. I'm in a 53-19 or something like that, and we're not really going hard yet. And that's the reason we're riding 2 abreast, because we're really not riding hard. The pace is reasonable. We got the wind behind us. Even though Paul said car back, I did not bother moving because this road is quiet. And really, I guess I just wanted to point out that bicyclists do have the right to ride 2 abreast on the road. We just don't do it because when it's busy, it's just not courteous, but it's not illegal. You can ride 2 abreast. And sometimes when you have a big group, if you've got more than 12 or 15 riders, it's actually recommended that you ride 2 abreast, so you have a shorter pace line for the drivers to pass. Of course, they have to use the next lane, but you will be about the size, the width of a car when you're 2 abreast. So you can legally ride 2 abreast in the lane. We just don't do it on roads like these. Roads that have 2 lanes on each side, you can take the entire right lane and ride two abreast, especially in a group, even if it's just two of you. But on a road like this, yeah, it's not busy. That's why you see me there. If it were busy, we would go single file because it makes it easier for drivers to pass. And there's only 4 of us. Our line won't be that long. When you have a very long line of cyclists, it's actually more dangerous for the cyclists because we're very vulnerable. Because some of the drivers will start passing, and then if they run out of room, they end up coming into the cyclists. These 2 kids out here got fishing poles, so we stay clear of them as we go around the corner here. And I just wanted to stress that when it's busy and it's busy in both directions and you have a lot of riders, sometimes it's better to take up the whole lane and let the drivers wait till it's safe to pass. Especially if you're going to have a long line of cyclists, because they don't gauge your speed very well and they start passing and then they get an obstacle or another car coming the other way and they end up turning into you, and cyclists have been injured or killed in those situations. So you just kind of have to ad lib, you know. The law's done with good intent, but you have to be reasonable. That's why officers don't pull you over when you 1 or 2 miles an hour over the speed limit. They're told, at least around here, the officers that I'm friendly with, they say they give you 4 miles an hour over, but they'll take 5. That's basically how they're instructed. And really, in this city, if you're pulled over, you're not 5 over, you're probably not even 10 over. You're like 20 over. Some of these guys double the speed limit. And then the officer, if you're nice, he'll say, I'll write you up for 10 over. You know, if you over 25 over, then you can't do defensive driving. You have to pay the fine or go to traffic court, that kind of stuff. So they're very lenient. And I only mention that in that the laws are written as a guide, but we have to apply them practically. Because if they were pulling people over for being 1 mile an hour over and something like that, it would just be a big hassle and there'd be an uproar. So even though we have the right to ride 2 abreast, we're only doing this right now because we're chatting and the road is not busy. If it were, we'd go single file, because it's just not cool. You know, you can have the right, but you don't have to be a jerk about it. So right here, the pace is picked up, so Jeremy decides to get in the draft. So just one final thing I want to say about the rights of the road. Don't try to argue those rights with some yahoo in a car or whatever. It's not worth it. If you're injured or something happens, you can settle that in a court of law. That's where you guys can have the discussion. Don't do it on the road. It's not worth the hassle, unless there's a peace officer that asks you, you know, then you can explain that. But just the average Joe, most drivers are not aware of the law regarding cyclists. They think because we're always on the shoulder or we're always on the side of the road that that's the only place we're supposed to ride. They just don't know. So use your position to keep yourself safe. I made a video about that, especially when you ride solo. You're going to be turning left, position yourself properly. If it's unsafe for them to pass, position yourself properly. What I do, I use hand signals to communicate with them and ask them to wait within reason. I mean, if he's going to bulldoze his way, I'm not getting in the way. We're very vulnerable on bicycles. So there's no reason for me to try to prove anything on a bike. So you just got to be aware of that. And most drivers are reasonable. You're not going to have the hassle. It's going to be the oddball here and there, you know, and that's the one you don't want to escalate things with. It's not necessary. If anything, you get a picture or you memorize their license and report it. Anyway, back to cycling. So we're warmed up. It's 37 minutes into it, and we're rolling here. I spend a lot of time at the front, and you're going to see later on, even when I'm on the back, I stay way back to fight the wind, because on Saturdays I try to make the ride very hard for me. The reason I stay there longer, like I explained in the last ride, the spirit ride, it keeps the group together for me to stay there longer because I get a workout and they get a workout and we all get to stay together. If I were to try to do 42 or 45 kilometers an hour and then break up the group, then I end up riding alone, and it does not encourage people to want to come ride with us. So I can get the same workout by keeping the speeds low and riding at the front longer. Kind of like when you go in the gym. If you took 10 pounds and lifted it 100 times, you could lift more weight fewer times. So that's the logic I'm using. A lower speed, I stay there longer. It keeps the group together. So right here, I see that the yellow light is on the other side. And so I tell them it's going to change.
There we go.
And it changes. And I was looking at traffic as well. That's why I went right away. I knew there was no car coming from the left. And that guy on the right was already stopping. You got to watch all of that because some of these people will run those lights. I'm waving the car behind us that was in the turn pass until he can pass us. Some of the drivers will hesitate to come around when they see several cyclists. So that's the reason when it's safe, I wave them around, let them go. I don't want them behind me. So we have a nice shoulder here. We switched to it. Going across this bridge here. There's usually a lot of debris on this thing, and it's okay today. Got a few small pebbles here and there, but I think all the wind we are having probably blowing stuff away, so it's fairly good. I'm letting everybody know there's a bump coming up right there. That's why we saw Frankie passing on the signal to Paul. It saves your wheels when you take the weight off. Immediately if you don't get up, you just put more weight on the pedals and release the saddle, let the bike bounce. Saves your wheels, you don't have to true it that often. Makes a big difference. So we have a cross tailwind right now. If you look on the map, we're headed northwesterly. So we've got a bit of the west wind hitting us, and this is a grade here. It doesn't, yeah, no, it says 1%. It's what we call a false flat. We have a lot of these around here. So we're turning left. I'm letting them know there's a crack in the middle of the road because it's wide enough to catch your wheel. They do a lot of road repairs for cars and not us, so they'll leave those holes there until it's wide enough to bother a car. But when they're little, they bother us. So we get over here, and I don't want us to sit in the middle of the road, so I check, nothing's coming, I let everybody know it's clear. We treat the left turn like a stop sign. Basically check for traffic and go across and get off the road. So now we're headed north, but in a westerly direction, more north than west right here. We still have the wind coming from the left at an angle as opposed to 90 degrees. I would say probably 75. It's a shallower angle. That driver waits for us instead of turning. That was kind of nice that Jeremy waved. It's right at 45 minutes into the ride. I think I just took a drink there. I try to drink every 15 minutes or so. I don't really look at the clock. It's just whenever I think about it, like I said in the video I made, whenever it crosses my mind, I reach down and take a drink. I don't like to be thirsty on the bike. You see the hill coming up. It goes anywhere from 3 to 5%. It's short. But if you have enough of these and you string them together, when it comes time to ride longer climbs, you'll be fine. I don't go out of my way to look for very long climbs. I don't see the point. You put it in a big gear on a flat road in the wind, it's the same difference. You can see it says 5% there. And look how well Frankie is riding this climb. 2 weeks ago, he was stumbling for gears. Marked improvement. That's what I'm talking about. When I say Frankie's a student of the game, that's what I'm talking about. He rode that climb perfect. Pre-selected his gear. So that was good to see. We're going down the hill here. I think here Frankie goes to the front. So even though Jeremy had just pulled, I didn't really want to go behind Frankie. I wasn't ready to go back to the front for a bit. I mean, not that I couldn't. I just wanted them to stay up there and ride to kind of get a feel for what kind of pace they want to do. Frankie's leading us right now. We're going downhill after that roller. And if you look up there, the road curves to the left. It kicks up a little. I don't think it's more than 2%. But this is what I'm talking about. If you ride these kind of hills back and forth, and let's say you do repeats on them, we have enough of these. I'm talking more than 10 miles. You'll be ready to ride 8% climbs or whatever if you ride enough of these. So you don't need to beat yourself up about it. And if you don't have these, ride into the wind, put it in a big gear. Because on the harder climbs, you will be in a small chainring in a baby gear, turning the same power and just going slower. That's just the way it works. So somebody asked me, one of the legends said, I'd like to see your form riding a 10 to 20% climb. I'll be in the smallest gear I can have, and if it's not enough, I will be dragging that bike up that climb, clawing my way, spitting and screaming and getting up that thing. That's what it takes. You know, you won't be going very fast. That's why you see people running alongside the riders in the tour. Right here we come across some cleaners, I call them, the vultures. There's a dead opossum right there. And these boys are cleaning them up. And I tell them, excuse us as we go through. Take some serious stomach acid to eat rotten flesh. So we gotta give them credit. They're engineered for that job. You see, Frankie looks nice and smooth on his bike.
Yeah.
He was asking if we were going to turn. I told him we're going straight. Some technical challenges on this clip, so it did not give me the correct mileage. You can see the map, there's just a piece of the map on there, so I had to rerun the data sync on this one, so it's not really merged with the rest of them. the speeds were off and so forth. So I got the speeds to be accurate. It was so bad that we stopped at this light and it was saying we're doing 32 kilometers an hour. So the reason why it says 3 to 5 is I rolled over on the side, I sped this up so I could push that button, the pedestrian button that will trigger the light. There we go. So all that's missing on here is the total mileage, and I went ahead and left off the timer because it really did not calculate the timer correctly since I did this clip separately the second time around. I didn't want to redo all the clips together because it takes almost 4 hours to get the clips integrated with the data, and I found it after I'd done the first batch, so it was just more expedient to do this. I had a couple of challenges with 2 clips, and I've been investigating what's going on with the software, but the second one I just basically took the overlay off for that section because it would not even allow me to do the synchronization. It looked like it was just a glitch, just a bug. But anyhow, at this point, Frankie's at the front. Like I said earlier, I wanted them to be up there to kind of gauge what kind of effort they wanted to do. And they're doing mostly my zone 2, which that's how I gauge it. So you can see me, I'm off the back on purpose, catching the wind because I want to keep my effort level high. So I wasn't aware that Paul had turned the camera around, but I was watching everything and I noticed there was a gap at the front between Frankie and Jeremy. So I rolled up front to fill that gap. So when I'm not pulling, I'd much rather sit in the wind at this effort and keep my effort up because I want a workout for the whole ride. For me, I want to make sure that I stay in my zones. So I roll to the front, I get on Frankie's wheel. This is another false flat. There it says 1%. Got a bunch of these. So that's why I like the north side of town. You're never riding on a flat road for very long. You got a slight grade. So when Frankie slowed down, so I just smoothly went around him. And he gets on my wheel. And since they've been riding at this zone, I try to keep it in the same zone while I'm at the front. Because we're doing about 3 hours thereabouts. We passed this lady, I told her, you can do it. And she looked up briefly. I love to see people riding their bikes. We need more people riding their bikes in this country to keep us fit. So we're rolling along here at a decent pace. This is a grade, it's a false flat. It's kind of a shoehorn kind of road. It curves east. It starts north and then curves east. Right here you see it says 1% briefly. Even though it goes to 0, it doesn't mean it flattens out. It's just a reading. It drops a little below 1 and that thing goes to 0. It's only showing integers. I wish they would get it to where it shows the points, because on the head unit it shows those fractions, not just integers. But you can see how smoothly we're riding together, and that's what you want to do with your group. Get the guys comfortable, get everybody smooth, call out the obstacles so there's no surprise. I look back, no cars coming, we're turning left. You can see Frankie's signal left as well. And that should go down the group. The bigger the group, the more people need to let that signal go back, because not everybody will see the first guy. We'll turn left here on Alden Bridge North. This is another road that goes north. If you look at the map, we finally have the course back. You look at the map there, it goes north, and then it's gonna come around like a little tip, like a little circle, like a shoehorn. It's the same road. Goes north, west, and south. So we stop here. The glitch I was talking about was only on one little clip. So that's why it was just for that section. And this clip is functioning fine. All the stats are running fine. This is about an hour into the ride. I speed it up here.
Doesn't matter what brand.
Get a green light. I think this is where there's a delay with Frankie. Yeah. So Jeremy tells me, so I back off, I look back and see what's going on. I don't know what he's doing back there, but we find out soon enough. So here he comes. I didn't know Paul was filming him. We're soft pedaling at the front.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is where he tells me about some towel that's too big to fit in. He's got a carrier on the frame.
Do you have a small one that you can fit there?
Yeah, I overstuffed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I overstuffed my carrier. Yeah.
Overstuffed it.
Frame storage. I got a storage on my frame. It's too full? Yeah, I overfilled it. I stuck a big towel. I stuck a big towel in there. Oh, you're not gonna take a shower on this?
I got it. He said he put a big towel in there. I said, you're not going to take a shower on this ride. What do you need that for?
You're going to take a shower.
Frankie. So Frankie had a washcloth and then he stuffed in there and it came out. I guess it was caused it the cover to open up. That's what he was messing with when we took off at that intersection. So here, Frankie goes to the front. We're going somewhat downhill briefly, then it levels off. Now we're heading west. Well, north. It's gonna go west soon. We're still going north. If you watch the course, you will see that needle moving to the left. Because now we're north, but we're gonna be going west pretty soon. You see the roads curving. So you look on the map, you see the white dot at the top. That lets you know where on the course we are. And now we're beginning to head west. And if you look at the course, at the last part of the overlay, where it says course, is going west. That's how much these roads change. And so when we're out here, that's why we always seem to have wind. Because you don't feel it. You think you're still going north, but you're not. Now we're going west. Northwest, almost like equidistant between north and west, and now we're going to start going more south soon. So Frankie went through that sign. He let us know it was clear. We can see. I always check. And then we come across Citizens of the Woodlands. You have to give them room. I think there was a place. Paul is mocking the ducks, and I told him the ducks have a pond on the right. They live on the right. They're going out for a walk. There's a place we went to, one called Key West, and we saw chickens just all around the city. And it said that they were citizens of Key West, and that if you harm a chicken, it was like a $500 fine or something like that. So I thought that was really cool. Just chickens, country chickens walking around the city, hanging out. So there's a hiatus in the pace. And so Jeremy and I are chatting. I don't remember what we're talking about. I think he's got a gearing issue. I think his gear's clicking. And I mentioned to him about his barrel adjuster that he could use to tweak the indexing on the fly. I don't know if this is where we're talking about it. Yeah, it is, because I point to mine. I told him mine is easily accessible. His is so close to the front wheel that I told him it might be too dangerous to try to use it while you're rolling, the way it's designed on his bike. There's almost like a timeout. We come to this light. I think this is Kirkendall. The cross street.
I had to go back over the 2978 bridge into the wind on that possible combination. Yeah.
Drag it.
I made it. I was probably going 8 miles an hour on the top of it, but I got over it.
It's a nice shot. I'm glad Paul panned it around so you guys can kind of get a feel for the intersection. So
Your bottle carrier's made by Triple T, man. That's cool.
So I noticed that the bottle carrier was made by Triple T on Frankie's bike. He's got a carrier on the rear with a special attachment that has the Triple T logo on it. It looked really well machined and everything to hold that bottle in the back like that. I thought that's kind of cool. It's good that he's got his saddle fixed. That's great. I think he said he had the wrong part and then he got correct part and put it in and solve the issue. When he gets on that bike, he's pretty low when he gets on the aero bars. So he's on the aero bars at the front, which is fine for the group because he's leading the group. There's an obstacle on the ground I pointed out for Paul. I don't think Frankie saw it. So he lets us know it's clear here. And I think Jeremy takes over the front here. Yeah. Frankie had been there for a while. So right around here, the light was green and we're coming up to it, and Jeremy, it turns yellow right there. And he stops, and I'm like, no. We keep going because we would have had to lock up. We're already entering the intersection. So we split him there, and I think these guys did a great job coming around. We would have had to lock up. So he came and I told him that you have an additional 6 seconds when the light turns yellow and you enter the intersection. You can go through, even in a car. It would have been too late of a stop for the group. And they intentionally have delays on those lights. When it goes from yellow, even if it goes to red, there's a slight delay before the other guys get green. Because, you know, people do run the reds. They're trying to make sure. When I'm in my car and I'm the first car, I make sure I'm either watching the traffic or I wait a little bit before I venture out there. There's always one guy trying to get through. Doesn't have 30 seconds to wait for the next cycle. So no. So I get to the front here. I let them know it's clear. I'm watching. And that wind is now, we're headed west. If you look at the course, look at the arrow. We're headed west. And for some reason, the front was coming and bringing in a lot of wind from the west. So we're going directly into the wind. Look at the guy's jerseys. Look at Paul's jersey. As tight as our kid is. That's how much wind we're dealing with. So I'm driving at 31K and then I see that my effort is getting into zone 4. I don't want to go too far into zone 4 because it would be too hard for the group, I think. This is a good sweet spot so we stay there. So right here, Jeremy comes alongside me. I'm maintaining a similar effort. I guess I backed up a little because my heart rate dropped like 7 beats or something. But we're going to be turning soon, I think. Is it not here? No. It's probably down the road. This is an incline. There's a school here. That's where you see those paw prints. There's a hole right here. And these are the kind of holes that can swallow a little bit of your wheel, just enough to dent it. It won't bother a car that much, but bicycle wheel hitting that, you can have a pinch flat or a dented rim. So I really point those out. Those are the things that I pay attention to when I'm riding, and it has prolonged. The wheels on the Colnago are like 11 years old. I bought them in 2006. So yeah, they're old technology. They're heavier. They're compact Nolo Urus wheels, but because of reading the road, they're in excellent condition. No dents, nothing. That's very important. Saves you a lot of headaches. So this is Branch Crossing. We're turning left. It'll take us west for a little bit, and then we'll start heading south. So you can see the arrow more of it is between south and west. If you look at the course at the bottom of the overlay, we're heading southwest, and that's where we're getting all the wind from today. Southwesterly flow. So we're working. And I've been at the front for a while. So at this point, I tried to get on the shoulder, and I waved Jeremy by. I guess he didn't see me. He follows me on the shoulder. I had wanted him to come by without using more real estate of the road, but he didn't get it. So I got back on the pavement, because right there there's a lip there on the shoulder. It's not smooth. So I just got back and continued to pull. And we turn right here on Terramont Parkway. It says 1% in the corner. It's a drag when you turn. If you're in the wrong gear, you have to work. I didn't do much shifting on this ride. I kept it in the 53.19 to like the 53.17 most of the ride, because from this stretch on, we were going into the wind. So Jeremy comes to the front. I look, nobody's there. I slip behind his wheel. Reaching for some food. It's an hour into the ride. I had breakfast, and it's time to put something in the tank for the third hour. So if you look at the map, you can see the white dot. At this point, we're headed southwesterly, but more south than west. Frankie goes to the front. I move onto his wheel because Jeremy has been at the front for a while. And I follow Frankie. I tap. I let Jeremy know, get on my wheel. You can see how low Frankie gets. So I'm not really getting that great of a draft. So what I do is just use his wheel, because the bike does create a cavity into the wind. But this is perfect for me because I want to work. Frankie kind of backs off the power here. I'm not really sure if he's done or not. Then shortly after this, I end up moving to the front. So I can tell that he's slowing down. Yeah, right here. So I move by, and I go smoothly and just give him a wheel. You see how I just glided over give him a wheel. Because we're going into the wind. The wind is blowing from the southwest and is gusting from the west periodically. And we're headed southwest. Hear that thing. This is what I was talking about. Imagine how long we've been riding. We had rollers. Now we got wind. So you do 2 hours with rollers and wind, you can climb a mountain. Come to this intersection, and right as I begin to unclip, the light changes to green, and I can see that the other side is clear. The guy in the pickup truck takes off. I roll through. Then Frankie makes a move here, and there's a gap. So I feel like playing. And I get that Colnago moving up to speed. We're going into the wind at 38 kilometers an hour. We're working. We're so intently pushing the pedals here. There are some cyclists coming the opposite way. Usually I wave at them, and I don't even pay them any mind. I'm moving. They waved at us. I think Paul must have waved or something. I'm trying to stay out of this wind. I'm on Frankie's wheel. I look back, it's clear. I kicked it a little bit. Paul comes along with me. Resume the same pace because he was backing off a little bit, and you can see how low I'm horizontal here. And I'm trying to keep my head down. That's the biggest thing. My engine's on now. I'm like, let's work it, because that's the pace Frankie was doing. I figured this is what he wants to do, so we'll continue the pace. And we're turning right here. So I take this corner. When I look back, then I notice that only Paul is on my wheel. I'm like, come on. What's going on? And then you can see back there. So we dropped the power just a tad. Dropped it back to sweet spot. Jeremy's coming up. Frankie's there. I look back, I see them, I say, okay, good. So we didn't let off too much, just a little bit. We're going up a hill here. Look back again, just keeping my eyes on the boys. Because we're coming, there's a light down the road where we'll stop when we get to a major highway. So there's many places to regroup. But we figure that we're right here, we're within their vision, they can see us. We're within sight, so it'll give them something to work towards. I didn't realize that Paul had filmed them this much until I started working with the clips. Because he and I were trading at the front. So Jeremy rolls up here. Frankie's behind him. That was a nice little stretch. We just stretched our legs a little bit. That's always good during the ride. So the wind right now is directly in our face. We're headed south and it's blowing. You see the speed, 25 kilometers an hour. Now this is the same effort we're doing 38 kilometers an hour on the other road. And now the same effort we're doing 26. That's how much the wind affects us. Frankie's back there. The camera doesn't really show him very well, but we can see him. Listen to that wind. Look at Paul's jersey. Right about here with the light coming off, we turn off the power. And we'll go ahead and regroup for the next stage.
Gotta save it for the wind.
Yeah, there was no overlay on this clip. For some reason, there was some glitch this week to where the synchronization failed just on this clip. So it was just better to leave the overlay on. I couldn't get the data to sync with the map on this clip. So it's just for this section, and then everything switches back on the next clip. So right here, we're heading to Tomball. And this is right before we get to the overpass. We've got the wind in our face. We're headed south. And you can hear that thing. And then we're going to be climbing soon. So because we're climbing, that thing goes up to like 5% and it's long. I shifted a small chain ring and put it in like a 39-14. That's what I'm riding here. I'll ride up to Paul. I'm trying to show you guys what gear I'm in. Didn't really show very well, but I'm on a small chain ring and 2 cogs up from the 12. I have a 1225 on this wheel. So I'm sitting here, just sitting on Paul's wheel. It's a long climb, so I figure if he's gonna stand for the whole climb, more power to him. I'm just sitting and staying out of the wind here, and then I go past here. I passed him a little bit. Right about here, the wind I got a gust of wind. I think it's after I switched to the front view here, right here. Yeah, right there. The wind kind of blew me sideways. Way up high, so. You can see there's Jeremy, and I think Frankie's back there. There he is. So I sped it up here. Paul and I are riding. Back off the power. Get here, this light changes to green. Roll through. And then for the first time since I moved in this part of town,
gears, Frankie. That was good.
I'm telling Frankie he's riding better on the climb. The first time since I moved out here, we have a traffic jam on this road. This road is, I think it's Huffsmith, Kirkendall. Never has a traffic jam. And you see after we pass this intersection, I speeded up here. And we basically come to almost a stop. So I stayed far enough behind it where I don't have to unclip. But we found out later, and you will see in this clip, that there's a parade going on in Tomball this weekend. So they have 2920 closed westbound. So these guys have to use this road to go west. That's what's happening. There's a detour for some parade. So they're not allowing traffic to go west, but they're allowing traffic to leave Tomball and go east.
That's what you do. You ride the gear.
And they have a lot of the side streets blocked too. So they're forcing people to use the roads that are on the outskirts of the city. That's why this is backed up. It stays backed up until the stop sign, about maybe an eighth of a mile down. It's not far. We're basically taking up the whole lane. We're part of the traffic. There's no reason to be on the right. I'm on the left, just to make sure the drivers behind us stay behind us.
Try to avoid on clipping. That's why I'm hanging back.
Get through the traffic jam, and now we're rolling. Jeremy's leading the way. So he pulls off, and I take the lead. I've got the camera. Right here, Paul comes up to get the camera from me. I hand it over to him. we're headed west into the wind. We're riding right around 27, 28 kilometers an hour into the wind. Even though the overlay is not on this clip, in a short while the overlay will return. So anywhere between 25 to 27 kilometers an hour. That's the same effort. There it is. It says 24. Yeah, 25 kilometers an hour. The overlay's back. Because we're headed directly west and the wind has been gusting from the west. This road is busy today because, as I said earlier, of the parade. We didn't know at this point why it was this busy. Normally we don't have this many cars. In both directions there was just a line of cars. I'm waving them over. It's clear enough for them to get by. There's a hole in the road. It's been there for a while. It's patched up, but it's still rough. I don't ride those. Avoid those. Saves your wheels once again. Pointed to it. And it's another false flat here. You feel it. And then with that wind in our face, and the grade is like 0.6 or something like that. I remember. That before. So yeah, this is way more traffic than is usual for this road. So I look behind, make sure nobody's coming, and then we take the lane, get in the line to discourage anybody else from coming by at this point. They need to just wait. Even though we're still going into the wind, the grade has changed. It's gonna go slightly downhill. So with the same effort, we'll be carrying more speed, like 32, 33 kilometers an hour. Effort is the same, but the conditions have changed, meaning that the road's flat. We're still headed west. We've got this wall on the left which is blocking that south wind, so we're able to carry a little more speed at the same effort. Check for cars here at the four-way. Clear. There's another stop sign here. I check left first. It's clear. And we find that this road that was closed the last time we came through here is now open. closed it, you can see the curb on the right here. They took off the curb to the concrete there. They took that off the side of the road. So they're definitely going to change the way this is laid out. They usually do that when they're building an overpass. So there'll probably be an overpass at this intersection. This is a short light. I mean, it's just really ridiculously short. They need to increase the length. What we end up doing at this corner here is staying more to the left. Right up here, I told him move to the left so these guys can turn. So we go up and move to the left. We're in the middle, right next to the line. You can see the line to our left. And Frankie comes over. I end up motioning to Paul to come over. There's a guy in the truck behind us, and he's not able to get by. So I told Paul to move over so this guy can get by. Sped it up here.
Yeah. Hey.
See, they filled that and put a lot of dirt over there. They filled that hole. There was a hole there from Harvey.
Okay, let's go.
As soon as we take off, the light goes to yellow. Very short. They need to lengthen that. That's going to create a problem for the drivers that use that road. So we're cutting through here. This is Lone Star College. We'll cut through here, go the back way, so we get access to a 5% climb before we get into the park. So you can hear that wind. I mean, we're pounded the whole day. Except when early in the ride when we're going north. Most of the route just had wind in every direction, pretty much. We had a few short areas where we had tailwind, but so here we're going to our shortcut. I'm not really sure why the guys are lagging behind here, but I just go ahead and move in and take that shortcut. I don't like to unclip when I go through there. It's not very wide on the other side. Jeremy's telling me there that it was a lot easier for him to get through this time. Those dogs always get excited over on the right there when we go through here. They're fenced in, so we don't worry about them. There are a few houses here that have loose dogs. Some of them come on the road sometimes. Most of them are little, so it's not a problem. Right here, the grade kicks in. It's a blind corner, so we have to slow down and check. Talking about a tree house that looks like it's barely attached to the tree, and I was like, I'm not gonna want to be in something like that. It looks rickety, looked like it would fall off if the wind blew hard. Looked more like a deer blind in a tree house. We went around that corner. That's what we're laughing about. brakes in. And I decided I'm just going to stand for the most part instead of shifting. I'm probably in a 53.19. It only goes up to 5%, so it's not that bad. I want to work my legs. Really pleased with how well this Colnago responds. It's a very comfortable bike and it holds its own, up or down. It's not the fastest bike up a hill, but it works well. I don't know what Frankie was doing back there, but he's pretty much out of sight here. I'm not sure if he's having problems with his gearing or whatever. He ends up catching back up, you'll see it. Spring Creek Park. I look back to see if Frankie is within sight. I think I can see his light or something as we go through here. Frankie just entered the park. I'm asking Paul if he sees Frankie.
Nope.
I see him on the clip now, but when I was riding, I really didn't see him.
I was looking for him on the camera.
We still haven't figured out what the delay was with him.
Come on, Frankie.
I think maybe he had something going on with his gears or something. But at this point we can see him. He's right behind us. We don't have the power down or anything, so we're just rolling. See, I'm back in zone 1. Paul said he was fumbling for gears, so shifting. Something was going on with that shifting. The thing is his shifter is way on the tip of the aero bars. So when you're climbing, your hands are not on the aero bars. So by the time he reaches there, he loses a lot of momentum. Probably should do like back in the old day when we had the down tube shifters. We didn't do too much shifting. Found like a mid-range gear and you just worked with it. Treated it more like a fixed gear and only shifted when there was a drastic change, I guess. That's the way we used to do it. There's some kids here in the middle of the road playing with some ball.
Hey, boys. Thank you.
Short little climb, but it gets up to like 8 and 10%. Kicks quickly. So I just stand up, same gear. 53.19. Right here it goes almost 10%. Yep. Flash breaks at 10%. It's a nice climb. I like it. So we're not really going full gas or anything. We know Frankie's coming up. Frankie's right there. Behind Jeremy. At this point here, Paul started having challenges with the gimbal. When he switches from the front to the back, the gimbal goes limp. So now he's filming the ground. And that's why you see people passing him. He's messing with the camera as he gets past. So Frankie has passed him. So now the three of us are in front of him as he goes around using the dirt over there. And we're up the road and he back there fumbling with that camera. And this is right before the stop where we can refuel. So we're just kind of riding here and I'm letting Frankie know you don't need to do too much shifting. But right here, as it starts to go up again, the grade kicks in. He reaches to shift. Now watch. He's going to lose momentum right there. Look at the gap open. We're not going any harder. But the time it took him to reach to the tip of those bars, he lost some ground. I didn't change my gearing. I just kept it the same way. I was riding the same gear. I didn't shift. Right here, I get behind Jeremy. You see my cadence is close to 80. 81 it says. And when we go left outside the park, the gradient kicks in as you leave. We're not really going that hard. It's a sweet spot, bottom of zone 4. Just above tempo. Just keeping everything nice and steady. So Jeremy's asking if we were going straight or not. I told him left. And right here it kicks in. You can see it says 3%. I think it's a little steeper than that. It's short, but it kicks in. I tell him clear, there's no cars coming. And we're out of the park. And we stop right up the road there.
Watch out, cop.
I take the second entrance to get in there because those cars popped out of nowhere. I didn't want to slow down.
Somebody getting ready for cold weather?
Yeah. What's happening with the camera over there? For some reason.
What?
I said for some reason the camera went the opposite side. So
Wow.
Yeah, I put a spare battery in the camera and it wouldn't come on. And then we
All right, guys,
went
we're
ahead
gonna
and
just
stopped.
go ahead and get out of here. So I'm
We
going on
stopped and
Tombo.
got it fixed. This is where we found out there was a parade going on
We're
in
gonna
Tombo.
sneak by.
This
They won't
lady's-
let you through. They won't let you go to Tombo.
No, I try to go that way.
Yeah, we're gonna sneak on the shoulder. I think there's something going. I hear a band.
There is a break going.
Ah, okay. So they're letting him go. They won't let you go right. They're letting him go. Okay, yeah, they're letting him go. Come on, you can do it.
They're selectively
You letting them
removing
go?
the barricades
We can just
here.
sneak on the shoulder here.
They're moving the barricades for people who are going away from Tomball. They don't want anybody going into the city. So if you're going east, they'll move the barricade from
This
the
thing
side
is very
street. for you.
finicky. Software. All right, it's back in business. It's recording. We're live. And it looks like we got tailwind. Oh boy, come on, boys. The tailwind's good. You get home quicker.
We have a cross tailwind.
I thought you didn't like the wind. Now you don't like tailwind? Oh man, Frankie. Come on, Frankie. Oh man. Frankie doesn't like tailwind. I don't know, man. You're not gonna be popular.
Not tailwind, it's just that I know there's no tailwind, that means our mileage is going to increase.
No.
3-4 more miles an hour.
Oh, no. We're gonna do the same effort. We'll just be going faster, but not harder.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, same effort. You fun. I'm much rather go faster at the same effort than crawl into that wind, man.
I like going fast, but not too long.
Oh, I see. He's just getting the zone for a minute.
Yeah.
I remember last week. Somebody in the zone for a minute. I laughed.
I'll be like, oh yeah, that's fine.
I'm done. Okay, I got you.
Frankie says he likes to go fast, but not for too long.
Oh, there's a parade, so they're restricting traffic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see the street over there is closed. Going west, you can't go into town hall.
Oh, okay, yeah, she may, yeah. They let the other guy. I'm gonna let her know her tail light is out.
Yeah, this lady's that's the lady that we're talking about.
Your tail light. The window down. That tail light is out on this side. The brake light. Yeah. Because nobody ever sees that, you know. Yeah, it's probably just a bulb. Yeah. For my wife's Honda, I've replaced 2 of them. They go out. It's usually a regular bulb. Yeah, they don't want them going through town. They can go. They got choices. There's a road back there they can use. Yep. Alrighty. So we got Frankie to take us on and set the pace, and then we'll go with him. What? I'm gonna stay with Paul. Go behind Frankie because we're gonna switch the camera. So I want you in there, man. We don't have any footage of you today.
So the plan was to get our echelon going because the wind is coming from behind us into the right. The south breeze is on the right. So it's blowing harder from the south right now than from behind us. And we were going to just switch cameras, well, camera holders, as I would go by when Paul was finished pulling, he would grab the camera. But I think Frankie ended up staying there longer than I thought he would. So when he pulled off, he had some difficulty. So we got gapped by the guys in front. Jeremy
and stop it.
we chased back up to them, but they didn't stop for that light back there. That's why I told Frankie to get out to stay to the right. So when Jeremy goes through, Paul goes up there, right here I told Frankie to come on. And so I back up the power a little bit so he can get on the opposite side. But these guys continue to pull away. So I just kept the pace.
This side, right here.
Yeah, I'm showing him where to go. So we got gapped there. I'm trying to keep it steady. There's a truck on the side here. Go around. Then by then the guys realized that we were back here. So they backed off a little bit to get closer. We're trying to keep everything together at this point. We're on the downside of a 3-hour ride. 3 hours and 20 minutes. At this point, I'm not aware of it, but it's just Paul and I up front. I give him the camera, and when I get to the front, I look back, then I see that those guys are not there. So I really just soft pedal. You see Paul's filming them coming. So all we did was we back off the power here. You See, I'm back into zone 2, and my heart rate will continue to drop. It basically just reduce the power, let them catch up. I'm looking under my arm to see where they are. You can see that they're coming up. Right about here, they're rolling right on towards him. Jeremy's in front, and Frankie's behind him. He makes that light. Let's see. We just kind of keep our eye on him. So there's a light coming up at the Grand Parkway, aka Grand Toll. We're never going to stop there. So just continue to back off the pedal. The power. At this point, we're pretty much together. The light changes here. There's Jeremy right there, Frankie right there. There's Frankie coming through. Out of the saddle, rolling in his gears, and he's back. Look back, I see that everybody is together, and we go ahead and just kind of roll through.
Yeah, everybody's here.
Yeah, Paul says everybody's here, and we just resume and wrap up the ride together. I hope you guys got a chance to get some kilometers in your lanes, but this is pretty much what we did on Saturday. A little bit behind on deploying this thing on YouTube. It's a crazy weekend, crazy day. I needed to allocate time elsewhere. Some other stuff that came up. So stay tuned for the prologue. You'll see we get to meet Christian. We ran into Christian.
Hey guys.
Hey, Christian, how you doing?
Fine.
Good to see you.
How are you, man?
Yeah. Oh, man.